Good morning. And y'all can come off mute and say
Good
good morning. It's
morning.
okay.
Good morning.
Good
Good
morning.
morning.
Thank you.
Happy Wednesday.
Good
I can
morning.
see. And happy Emergency Alert Week. Okay. All right. Okay, it's 10:01. So most of y'all who work with me know that showing up early is on time. So I'm getting antsy. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Welcome to the Assessment and Admissions Virtual Open House. Some of you have probably been to a few of these before this week. I'm going to follow the guidelines I was given, and we will go through the slides and we'll talk about some different items, and we'll leave room at the end for questions and answers if I have them. If I have them, I will share. If I do not, we will find out and I'll get back to you. Okay, everybody ready? All right. So the things that we're going to go over, we're going to talk about the definition of the area, uh, problem statement, the functions, how we measure success, systems thinking, which is talking about our collaboration with our department and other departments, and not just in student affairs, but across the college. The timeline, we're not going to touch too much on that because it is a moving timeline and we'll figure things out as we go, but there will be questions and discussion. And if you want, you can put your questions in the chat and someone will kind of help me out and make sure that I don't miss anything. Okay. So the first thing is a definition of area. This is a new department. We all have been each doing our own thing a little bit separately, and now we're going to come together. So the problem that we're solving, we need more streamlined and integrated processes in order to provide timely and appropriate services to our applicants and students. We all have touch points that touch each other while also having things that do not touch at all. So trying to figure out where we can collaborate, where we can streamline things and tie things together to make it a little bit easier. So this will bring together traditional admission application processing, TSI compliance, and assessment and testing services. From applications, of course, we bring in new students. For TSI, we monitor their college readiness. And for assessment and testing, facilitate TSI academic and certification testing. I'll go a little bit deeper into those areas in a little bit. How do we measure success? Each area will have its own success measures, but the outcomes for all will kind of point to a process or a onboarding that is more seamless for applicants and things that students have stress points about now as they continue through their life cycle here at ACC. Success on one hand will be, okay, we'll process applications faster and we'll have more accurate TSI compliance monitoring. And for our campus student-facing offices, high levels of satisfaction from student, faculty, and testers in our campus testing centers. And just to give you guys a little context, these areas are the highest of volume areas. For traditional admissions applications, we clocked about over 40,000 applications last year that all have to be addressed in some manner. They weren't all people who transitioned to become students. Some, had done an incorrect application. Some just needed to be canceled, but shared information on how to come back to ACC as a returning student as opposed to entering as a brand new student. For the TSI office, there are about 13,000 test scores that came in last calendar year from outside of ACC. So these are not people who go to our testing centers. They're testing at high schools, at other colleges, and we've run in about a little over 13,000 of those, plus GED scores and military DD-214s, exemptions and waivers, and all those sorts of things. And for the campus testing centers, collectively, it was well over 25,000 services were rendered to students, and we call it testers. And I will say testers because, again, not everyone who comes to our testing center is an ACC student or will go on to be an ACC student. So we deal a lot in high volume. And the things that we need to bring all the stuff together is really to latch on to the opportunity to leverage our technology to share information and to just kind of streamline things and match things up where they make sense and reduce duplicate efforts, but also just increase efficiency and accuracy. That's the goal. As far as systems thinking, the way that we work right now with college-wide cross collaboration, I've only listed a few here, but we have many more. Recruitment and welcome services. Recruitment and welcome services, recruitment specifically, their portion of the application is to get people started and get them to the point where they click submit. After they hit submit, that's where we pick up and we collect TSI information and all that sort of thing. The information, the handoff there then goes to application and then eventually filters down to the TSI office. It also filters over to advising services. Students, advisors will, a student will go in, want to talk to an advisor, they'll look at their college readiness status. And if they need to assess, then they'll refer them to a campus testing center. Also, for application processing, everything we collect on the front end will eventually filter over to advising services so that they can do their jobs with the most information possible in order to best serve the student. One of the areas outside of student affairs that we work with is institutional research and analytics. Much of the data that we collect on the application and through the application process ends up being reported to the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board. So we're talking about TSI scores, we're talking about major academic programs. Everything that we collect on the application is collected for a reason. And all that information eventually ends up on a report. So we spend a lot of time with institutional research and making sure that the information is accurate and clean and getting where it needs to go. One of the things that kind of excites me about the realignment is more collaboration that we will have with other areas. There are so many other touch points we can have with advising, with accelerated learning, with financial aid, and we'll get into that when we talk about the roles for the regional directors. So we're going to go into like the high level job descriptions. I'm not going to go too much into titles because I'm more focused on the work. But the one thing that we do know first rolling out will be our regional directors of assessment and testing. And these are the leaders who will provide guidance and perform strategic, operational, and programmatic work. What I envision for the regional directors is that they will help create standard processes and operating procedures for all of the campuses for testing and assessment. Realize that every campus has kind of had their own way of doing their own thing because of the structure. Moving to a regional structure will help us to make sure that a student has a very similar, if not the same experience as San Gabriel as they have at Riverside when they go into a testing center. That's going to be the operational focus. The strategic work will focus on data gathering, and that will allow us to produce comprehensive foot traffic reports. It'll help us to make appropriate data-informed decisions in regards to staffing and services. The programmatic work will give us the opportunity to provide standalone test preparation workshops and collaborate with advising services, recruitment and welcome services, orientation and first year experience on joint workshops and presentations. I think we'll also have opportunities to look at ways to work with, like I said, with accelerated learning, with enrollment and records and financial aid. And that won't just be for the testing and assessment. This will also be from the TSI office, compliance office, and also for application processing. The next level will be applications, operations, and processing. The orientation advisor roles are going away, and those jobs, they entailed a lot of work in different areas. They worked on admission application processing, they worked on orientation, they performed advising services. So with those going away, we will pick up the portion of their work that focused more on application processing. And we're going to build that out. Right now, we have their attention was split in order to have them focus more on applications, this will allow us to provide a better picture, full picture of an applicant before they get to orientation and before they get to advising. We have an opportunity to make sure that we are capturing everything that is relevant, whether someone is a transfer student and they maybe don't need to take the TSIA. If they have SAT scores, to be able to access those scores and make sure that they are accounted for, so that we don't have applicants or students new coming in going to do things that are unnecessary for their circumstances. Also, we've planned to focus on helping to parse out the students who really need to go to continuing education or adult education. Sometimes from the website, people don't know where to start with an application and they just click the one that looks best and move forward. And sometimes it's not until they get entirely through the process and have done all the work that we realize, oh, well, you probably really need to go talk to adult education. We can do better. And we are going to do better with being able to screen those people out and make sure that they get directed to the services that they need when they need them. For the TSI Compliance Office, we monitor student and institutional compliance with Texas College Readiness Rules. The thing to understand about TSI compliance is that it's not just about a student and their scores. The rules also dictate that the institution provides certain services and provide guidance to students who are not yet at that college readiness benchmark to take college level coursework as a standalone course. So the compliance office that's kind of the scope now, but it will expand a little to ensure that we are getting the information to all the offices that need it. We work closely with instructional areas, with integrated reading and writing, and with the math department to sort through a lot of these sort of compliance issues, and also with advising services. And honestly, that's pretty much the end of my part of the presentation. I would love to answer any questions y'all may have. Nobody has any questions about TSI or testing? Y'all are good? Miros, has this happened before?
It takes a little while for a brave soul to come out and ask a question, but there are some open houses that have been pretty quick, but I think you were very clear. And Myra just asked a question. Thank you, Myra. And she said, do you know what grade level TSI is requiring in general?
Myra, do you want to verbally expand on that question a little bit so make sure I understand?
When I first started, I worked with the developmental students, but I don't know now. I know that Texas kept lowering the level essentially of competency, and it was about the seventh grade level on reading and writing, and I think it's a little lower than that now. And I just wondered if you knew what kind of, in general, what grade levels we're requiring for the integrated reading and writing and math. Is the math still around elementary algebra? Intermediate, maybe?
It is called college level, but I can also say in everything that I've been reviewing for the past 5 or 6 years, I have not seen any explicit reference to grade level. I don't know, maybe
They
if they
don't
got away from
generally
that
put
language.
it out. I
Yeah,
just wondered if
yeah.
any of our people, for instance, had run equivalency testing. We used to do that pretty regularly to just to know when we were walking in the classroom what where students might be starting, because they can be TSI compliant, but they're really not operating at a college level. That in the reading, they're nowhere near college level. They never have been. I know it was 7th grade and I know that they were going to lower it, but that was about 10 years ago. I haven't kept up with it because it's not something that I have done. So I just wondered if you or anybody in the audience knows.
I can,
Algebra 2 is intermediate, isn't it?
mhm. Yeah, I could probably
Or
check with
first
our
part of
instructional,
intermediate?
yeah, with our instructional partners, the people who, because Dr. Parker and I know Dr. Reed are very involved in doing that
Yeah.
type of
Well,
assessment.
I can
So, yeah,
ask Ursula. I just thought maybe
okay.
you might know off the top of your
Mm-mm,
head. Okay,
no,
thank you.
thank you.
Miss Erica, I do have
Mhm.
a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Because I know that admissions, usually they close during graduation to go help with graduation. But testing is always open. Is testing now going to have to close to help with graduation?
I don't think so. And that department will now be enrollment and records. And they've been doing an amazing job with handling everything on their own. You can go to, Linda Terry will be doing her open house on Friday. May want to log into hers and see what she thinks about it. But no, right now there is no plans.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hey, Gabrielle. I saw your question, with the TS office potentially grow to a bigger team? Potentially, but I thought about this a lot. I've thought about this a lot over the years. But the problem with growing the team itself could not be big enough to handle all of the volume. So the better way to think about it for us is to leverage our technology to get us there. Right now, any student who takes the TSIA at an ACC testing center, their scores will import into Colleague and into Salesforce the next business day. We are working with IT now to have that also happen with people who test outside of the college. Prior to this year, we didn't have any way of gathering that information in any type of file that would allow us to do that. Accuplacer finally gave us a way to figure that out. So we're working with IT now to have that be an import process to try to make it easier. And we will also probably leverage some of the time and staff we have at the campuses with assessment and testing to help us out and figure out a way to make it better so that we can get more timely updates to student records. Okay. Patricia, I saw your question about purchase requests. And yeah, that's one of the things that has been a very enlightening experience. As you all know, all the assessment and testing campuses and supervisors, not in Workday yet, because that would be clean. Right now, they're reporting directly to me. So all of the support that they had for purchasing and budget help was done through the campus deans. That has shifted. So we are still working through some of the kinks right now, but I did share an internal Google form that I would like for you guys to fill out. Is there some need that you have that I need to be aware of, so that I can then take it and review the budget and work with our ABC, Dr. Kenny, to see what we can do and how quickly we can do it. So that'll be the process for now. Stay tuned. Next week, it will probably be updated.
Thank you.
Mhm. Dr. Young, I see your question about STAR testing in the high school level. Yeah, the legislature in the additional session have been, yeah, going back and forth about STAR testing and whether or not it should be completely eliminated or adjusted. And all of those. We have not heard anything yet from the Student Success arm of the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board. That supervises our guidance on the TSIA. We haven't received anything from them yet about after effects with STAR testing to see if there be any adjustments, but we will be keeping an eye out over the next few months. Usually after a legislative session ends, about a month or two later, depending on how much came out of it, we'll get guidance from the state as to anything that's changing or anything we need to adjust. Myra asked, I know that many online courses have figured out how to do their own testing online. Have the testing centers experienced a rise in online testing? Do we monitor online tests through testing centers? The testing centers do monitor some online tests. It really kind of depends. And I know that's not the best answer, but it depends
I
on the
was just wondering
situation.
in general what the
Yeah.
trend was and how we're addressing it, because I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah, like you said, if it's a distance education course, like you said, they kind of do their own testing and their own proctoring. There have been some students, if a student is in a distance education course, they need to take a test and they have some difficulty, usually with their laptop or their Wi-Fi, the connectivity, something isn't working, they can go to a campus testing center and request to take the exam there. I can't say how often that happens, but it is a service that we can provide if the student absolutely needs it outside of the regular online testing protocol. And if anybody is here from the testing center and wants to chime in, please feel free. This is our open house, not just me. Christine, Dr. Hall, are there any plans to have representatives from the admissions side of the department to be housed or available in person on campuses? At this time, there is not. Right now, a lot of referrals that we get or questions that we get are actually come through Welcome Services, which is both the virtual help desk, the remote help desk staff, and also from the welcome centers at the campus, like at the Highland campus. Usually if someone walks in and they're confused or want help, that they'll end up at a welcome center or they'll end up somewhere else in person. We do a lot of our communication is through email and through cases. If someone is doing the application and they encounter a problem, they submit a case and we can address it. Our goal ultimately, and I say ours because I can't do it alone and I will depend on everyone on the team to help, is to get to the point where we have so few cases and so few questions because we have made the process so easy and seamless that before they could even think to ask a question, they're ready to move on to the next step. So that's the goal. So we shall see how that works out, but we're going to work toward that. The application itself, we just did a slight, I want to say redesign. We're in a continuous improvement phase with a lot of stuff. And so we've adjusted the application. It's a few questions shorter, but more importantly, the flow was changed so that the sequence of questions makes more sense and people can get through it. Most people finish our application in less than 15 minutes, and we have some people get through it as few as 5. So we know it's not a barrier, but we can always do more to give more information, to have more information be forthcoming and shared appropriately quickly. So if we can accomplish that, we will not have a need to have anyone on campus in person. Okay. Anybody else have any questions, concerns? Okay, Myra, you mentioned fraudulent applications. What are these people doing? How are they doing it? Oh, they are all over the place.
I'm
What
not
we've
asking
seen-
for a class in how to do it, but I just wondered what
Yeah.
are they pulling off? How are they?
Yeah. Yeah, some people, it's been a mix. There are some people who are using stolen identities of real people that we can go out and find, and they are using their names, social security numbers, dates of birth. sometimes submitting transcripts. And
So,
it's
so
not
they're
until
doing that for financial aid? I mean, is that the
Mhm.
reason behind it?
Ultimately, yes, that's
Okay.
usually the goal. And then we have some people who were, if they don't get into one school, or if they get caught at one school, they stay in just long enough to get a school issued email account, which they can then leverage to apply to other schools. Because if someone applies with, and that Dallas College email account, it gives them legitimacy when they apply here. It doesn't set off a red flag for us. So there's all kinds of schemes, but usually the goal is for them to get to the point to be able to register and apply for financial aid and get a disbursement.
So that's a
So
felony, right?
if you can catch them, that's the tricky part. When trying to trace these folks, they're all over the country. A lot of them aren't even in the U.S. So it is, yeah, trying to pin them down. The Department of Education has spent a lot of time trying to track down rings, because it's usually not just one person who's doing this as a one-off. It's usually a collection of people, and they will
So it's
spread it far and
automatic
wide.
deposits they're using, right? Because they don't have to have an
Mhm.
address to have a check sent.
Mhm. Yeah,
Huh.
and some banks, the Department of Education
Wow.
has knows that there are some online banks that are hubs for that sort of receiving that type of money, and those have been cracked down on from that angle. So yeah, it's very interesting. Even, yeah, stolen identities, and then some are just completely fabricated identities. We have some ways of looking at them and marking them and following up with the person to see if they're real or to get more information from them. Cecily, once a student visits campus, welcome and finishes their application, when will they be able to visit admissions while they're on campus to process their application on the same day? Um, Same day processing is a goal past a certain time of day, but our application is open 24 hours a day. So when we come in on, especially on a Monday, we have applications that were submitted 2 a.m. Saturday, Sunday, Monday before we open, and we process in the order received. So sometimes, even though someone is on campus at 8 a.m. on Monday and has submitted their application, they're in a virtual line behind everyone who submitted Sunday morning at 2 a.m. And so on Mondays, it's always a little bit of catch up, but throughout the week, even during peak periods, the application generally will be processed the same day. It just depends. And peak times are especially challenging, as you guys know. Um, we won't be able to just pull one out and process it right now. As like I said, there were people who submitted 2 or 3 hours before who will take priority. And it's just kind of the way we have to handle it for now. But by the end of the day, if someone applies on a Monday or a Tuesday, their application will be processed on Tuesday, and they will receive notifications and emails. The important thing to do is please remind applicants to check their email, and sometimes maybe in their junk folder, because we have automated emails that go out at different trigger points, and that's where they get the information. And we ask them to really pay attention to that. That cuts down on a lot of questions, follow-up questions. Anyone else? Any questions, concerns? Okay. Well, okay. Dr. Young, since we are testing and assessment, what database will be utilized to determine how our students are doing compared to your campus and statewide? Dr. Young, are you referring to student performance on the test? Okay. That comparison, actually, that's one of the things that one of those state reports I told you about. Uh, there's a report that goes to the state every year, every semester, for every enrolled student to track their progress. It captures their TSI status at the time of at census, at the start of the semester, and also at the end of the semester. I would be more than happy to share with you all of those comparisons because that kind of information is compiled at the state level. And there are years of data going out there with comparisons for institutions and comparisons for outcomes of students who take developmental paired coursework and success rates at the end of the semester and students who test. So I will be more than happy to share that with you. Okay, and Dr. Hall? Okay, yeah, the campus admissions and enrollment offices will be known as enrollment and records. And this team is assessment and admissions and will not have in-person representatives on campuses. Thank you, Dr. Hall. Okay. All right. Anyone else have any questions, concerns, ideas? They say someone raise their hand, Gildan?
Yes, I was just curious
Oh,
if
Q, hi.
hello, if there's been any conversation about not necessarily external, because I know our application is open 24/7, but start or stop dates and stuff as far as applications go. And then also like that same day processing type thing. Has there been any discussion about the instant gratification mindset that creates with students thinking they can come and take, application, get a class, and we haven't even looked over their transcripts, their, stuff that they're bringing in, TSI scores. And so just kind of like almost, operating almost like a 4-year would, because that's where we're, what we're almost resembling, to kind of have some of those maybe stop points, like slow down in order to speed up, because I think it's creating the wrong mindset. And then sometimes it makes it where it's like, I did this today, and it's like, we have no transcripts, nothing. Like, what are we going to do? We don't want to advise people into the wrong stuff. And so I was just wondering, like, have those discussions been had? Because I understand, getting them in and, getting the process to where people are like, yes, I'm good to go. But just what that conversation looks like and sounds like can also kind of stop that psychological like "Bleh," in the middle that comes when people are like, no, well, they got my application done in a day. I need to be able to get classes. And it's like, but what classes do we put you in? Right. And so just, curious about that process, or, have there been any discussions of the sort?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I will tell you, as of last month, I've been at ACC for 18 years. And I was here, like you said, when that instant gratification was the goal. The goal was to have someone walk in off the street, do an application, get pushed to advising, get advised, get registered in a class, all within one day. Um, it was the college was a little bit smaller then, and we operated differently, and the complexities and nuances weren't there as they are now. So it has been this has been a years long conversation, because the thing is that we also, having done that, having been here for 18 years, I know I'm ready to move on from that mindset because it does not serve our students well. Like you said, people get misadvised, but we do have people who still think that that's the way it should go. And that's just not the best way to operate. There needs to be, like you said, some guidelines and rails. And people need to understand that these guidelines and these guardrails are not there to hinder progress. It is to make sure that we are serving the person properly the first time, so that they don't have to come back later and say, I was misadvised or someone told me something wrong. We know our applicants are not always forthcoming with information. If they don't like the grades that they received at another institution, they neglect to tell us that they attended another college or university. If they don't like the scores they got on the TSIA, they'll just show up and say, oh no, I've never taken the test before, and retest and not be prepared to take it seriously and do what they need to do to demonstrate their actual skill level so that we can assist them in the best way. This will be an ongoing effort, but we have made progress. It's much better than it used to be, with that expectation. And like you said, in planning, we need to, we have plan and schedule built out so that they can plan several semesters ahead. That same mindset needs to be from the very beginning, from the time you start your application, plan what you're going to do, not just treat this as a quick thing. I can just get in and get what I need and then get out. We want students to stay. We want to set them up for success. And the thing that has been resonating in my brain for the past year has been the start strong theory. We need to have them start strong. And the best way to do that is to maybe slow down just a little bit and just ask the right questions, make sure we're getting the right information, and make sure we're getting people to the right place. Like I said earlier, we have people who would get through the application process and then realize, well, I really don't want to take credit ESOL classes. I want to go over here and take these through CE instead. And we've spent 2 weeks of their time and they're not where they need to be. We need, that's what we need to know and understand when we're helping students and applicants, is that it's not always about the speed, it's also about the quality of the information and the proper guidance.
Thank
you.
you.
See, I got on
so
my
much.
soapbox there. Thank you.
Hey, I'm on the same box, so thank you so much for saying that, because I feel like it's two different things they're doing. It's like speed is, butts and seats, but if you're going to, start somebody strong and make sure that, they're able to get through with not stopping all the time, then yeah, slowing down to speed up, sometimes it's just setting the right foundation. So thank you for sharing that, because then that makes, at least I know in that realm of testing and admissions that thought process is occurring.
Thank you. Stephen asked, will business certification testing continue to report to the HLC testing manager, or be separated into a different reporting unit? Right now, as of today, Stephen, because I can't promise anything in the future. Right now, it will probably not be broken out as a separate thing, just because those two things are tied together. Business testing and assessment are together at HLC. At Round Rock, they're also kind of together. They're in separate rooms, but they're cross-functional. They meet each other. And so anything that we build in the future, we're going to have to be very thoughtful about which services we put where, and make sure that if we do increase services, that we also address staffing. We don't want to put an extra service somewhere and then not have enough people there to actually provide the service that's needed seamlessly and in a good way. So as of today, it'll kind of stay where it is, but that may change in the future. And just so y'all will know this about me, if you haven't worked with me before, especially the past few years, I'm ready to try things. We have to try. We won't usually get it right on the first go round, but we will learn lessons and we can improve upon something. I've been, probably because of dealing with our CRM and with TSI, and just the shifting and growing of technology and things that we can use and leverage. I'm kind of in that continuous improvement mindset. So if you have a suggestion and you ask, why are we doing this way? Do we need to do it this way? Tell me about it. I want to hear about it, because you've likely seen something or heard something that I haven't heard or seen, and we can fold it into what we're doing. There are certain things that we are kind of steadfast about, that we have to be, that are compliance, related and operations related, that have to be a certain way, but we have so much flexibility even within those spaces sometimes, just to tweak things or make things a little bit easier or better, especially if it makes it better for our students. That's always the goal. So feel free to share your thoughts, your opinions, your suggestions. I rely on my team, and if you want to, if testing and assessment, if you need to check my references, please reach out to Mark Jimenez directly and ask him what it's been like working with me for the past few years. and Leilani Del Rosario, our TSI coordinator, because we're always pivoting and thinking, why is this so cumbersome? Why does it seem so hard? And sometimes we discover when we break it down, it does not need to be that hard. We can make it easier and make it easier on everyone. And so if that's the case, we will try it. And if we fail, we will accept that failure and then we will move on to the next thing or try to figure out how to make it better. Thank you. Any other questions or concerns? Thoughts? And I do want to officially welcome the testing and assessment folks to enrollment management. I know this has been a big shift for you to leave where you were and end up over here, but we are a very caring group of people. We care deeply about our work and about our students and about their success. So you're part of a great team, and we will continue to move forward and do what we need to do to make things better. But it's good to have you with us. Thank you. Okay. Anyone else have any questions, concerns, thoughts? Okay. Well, just so you know, I do have big ideas. I had to break out my old whiteboard. There was one in the corner that I had taken down when I moved into this office, but I have things on the wall, on the whiteboard now that we'll be working on over the next few months. So you'll hear from us, and especially what I'm most excited about, like I said, is the cross collaboration. I visited with our testing centers, and a lot of people have a lot of really good ideas and things that they observed that I don't think they've been able to relay to other departments and divisions. And I think these things need to be shared. And I think we can all work toward making content for our students and for our applicants that is comprehensive. It doesn't have to be just one department making a presentation or feeling like they have a pressure to create a workshop. Reach out to us. We're going to use our regional directors strategically to make those things worthwhile and make them robust and make them meaningful. So I'm very excited about the people on this team and then to work with all of our other teams. I think we're going to be in a good place. Okay. All right. That's all I have to say. And if no one else has anything, I think we can wrap it up. Thank you. Y'all have a great day. Thank you.